Hey guys, it's Finch here. We're back with my second game for the top 16 of the Cash Gang Draft Tournament. I won game one against Vesuvius. That is, in fact, the pronunciation. So, game two, I got Doogal as they defeated KMG next. KMJ next, I think, rather. Doogal is a solid opponent, very solid, and a really cool team. So we're going to get into some things momentarily, but first, I just want to preface this again by saying I have this huge team building video where I prepared for my first two opponents, um, and it's over 2 hours long. So I get it if you don't want to watch that whole thing, but if you want the cliff notes of my team, the nitty gritty details that I gave in the prior videos for all of these explanations, then you're going to find it there. In all likelihood. I did have to change something in this team, however. Initially, I ran synchronize on the Sylveon in this team. And initially, I ran Hyper Voice, I believe, but I thought a bit further into it. And I was scared of Third Chop Zeraora plus Garchomp, or just Third Chop Zeraora in general. So therefore, I made it Moonblast. And seeing as I couldn't run Synchronize, it's not a legal move in Generation 8, it didn't verify with the format. I found out last night. I made it same EV spread. I made it Baton Pass, I believe. Um, Anyway, just to go through my team, I believe this team was Custap Rhyperior team. Yeah. Custap Rhyperior. Was this the. 1 second, let me pause. I want to find the import actually. Yes, this was Custap Rhyperior. Utility Rotom-Mow, a physically defensive Sylveon, kind of a team specific Custap very especially defensive oriented Ice Punch variant of the excuse me, Rhyperior. It was Iron Defense plus Body plus Slowbro. So long haul, if it didn't get toxic by anything, then it could do really really well here. Um, it also lived 2 Hurricane from uninvested Moltres, which was likely to be. This was like, hmm, I think this was the King Shield Shadow Ball Toxic Close Combat variant of the Aegislash with EV, so always live a Life Orb Earthquake from Jolly or an Adamant Earthquake from regular Chomp, non Life Orb Chomp, and live 2 Plasma Fist from Zera Aura, and live any like Fire Blast from Moltres, and a non-choice band crunch from Drankar, and then a bunch of bulk basically, and then mix that with no attack and a little special attack, yeah. And then it was kind of like you did Utility Toxic, Utility U-Turn, Icy Wind, I want to say toxic, but it might not have been toxic. Might have been knock. It also had heat wave on the Tornadoes T with a ton of physically defensive investment and not a ton of speed. It didn't outrun Jolly, Garchomp, for example. So that was my team. As for his team, I knew he wouldn't pick Quagsire against because I got Rotom-Mow. I can regress on Slowbro. Sylveon can Tukio it. Aeroslash can Tukio it. Tornadoes T can Tukio it. Rhyperior at worst can Toxic it. And if I didn't bring Rhyperior and I run Random I could taunt Toxic, knock it. So didn't make sense to bring Quagsire against me when Weezing looks a lot better against my team. Weezing does well against Rhyperior. Weezing does well against Sylveon. Weezing can set up toxic spikes or status everything else. That's great. It also complemented Garchomp offensively a ton, so that's cool. I knew that right off the bat, his main threats to my team were going to be Tyranitar if it ran Aqua Tail, and on top of that, also a mixed attacking Zeraora. I knew that Garchomp can always pose a threat, but I do live even in Adamant, Life Orb, or Choice Banded, Jolly, Stoned from Garchomp, and I have Icy Wind on the Tornadoes T. Aegislash is even to a kill offensive range for Shadow Ball, and it's Toxic. It's even a very bulky. It lives any Life Orb special attack from Garchomp after Stealth Rack, and it lives even a +2 Dragon Claw from Adamant Garchomp. It's like a bulk up the ass kind of Rotom-Mow with Wisp. And I think this Slowbro was this yeah, it was Iron Defense Body Press, so it can kind of 1v1 Swords and sets. And also I take like 50 max from Adamant Earthquake from non-life orb Garchomp with Sylveon. So yeah, and I just felt like I had a lot of things for it. As for Scizor, again, Tornadoes T is a great answer to it if you EV it specifically, so this is done in this case. I fished his Mega Scizor last round, but it's also worth noting that he loses a ton of bulk and even a little speed when he's not Mega, and this one's not. So I'm expecting a Choice Band or a Life Orb set. If it's not Choice Band, it's probably going to be Swords Dance in all likelihood. I'm thinking Swords Dance knock would make a ton of sense, or even 4 attack. I guess Assault Vest is within their own possibilities as well. Um, in particular, I was kind of fearful of it being Facade Assault Fest, as if I Wisp it with Rotom and then it goes for Facade and That's really cool. You could catch something off guard, but I think I'd probably just go Aegislash to scout for that because there's something on top of my head. But without further ado, there's one thing. Hustap isn't legal in Draft League. It's not a released item in Generation 8. I don't know, maybe it doesn't exist in Generation 8. Which is weird because the moves that aren't released, the DLC moves, are allowed. So I thought that unreleased items would also be allowed. Well, it turns out that, quite on the contrary, they're not. So either custom Bright isn't in Generation 8 or there's a different rule applied to the items. But the thing is that A, I validated my team. B, there's no specific mention of custom Berry or specific item list that's prohibited provided. So I don't blame the people who ran the tournament. In fact, the people who ran the tournament did a phenomenal job. All of the admins did an amazingly thorough job, and they handled a lot of controversy that happened today between someone leaving in the middle of the tournament for a little bit, between the server having outages, and between just a whole host of complaints and technical difficulties that they might have experienced. I have the utmost respect for all of those dudes, and I'm actually going to post a little thing later on discussing that a bit more, just because I really think the catching people do an amazing job. But that aside, I do want to say that it wasn't legal, but they kind of said they couldn't do anything about it after because it did validate in their format on the server, and there's no way of me knowing really. So it was just kind of like an oopsie little moment. I should have known, it should have been enforced, etc. And the custom part did come into play, but I have beyond reasonable doubt belief that I would have had the same end result of this game, win or lose, regardless of that sequence. So we're going to go into that in a bit of more specific detail during the game as well, as my Rhyperior does have Gust Step Barrier, but that is just a heads up. That is something to make note of. So I hope you guys keep that in the back of your heads when watching this battle. So I lead Rotom Mo, and he leads the one thing I didn't want to see Moltres, so I switch out immediately to my Sylveon. I even live to offensive as long as it's not Specs. There's no always running Specs against Rhyperior, so he turns, and I know I live even a choice band ball punch, and also just always going for ball punch when I have Aegislash and Tornadus T. And I figured you'd go U-turn and knock off there, so I wish, just in case it goes for ball punch, because I live it and I could wish protect. But I wish to Rhyperior, so in hindsight I should have baton passed there, but I didn't want to take a ball punch and be nothing to show for it. But that's fine. It covered switching into a choice banded non-Aqua Tail or an Aqua Tail for non-choice banded. Trying to charge instead, heal up full, but he went for rocks, so I just go for man rocks as he goes to Weezing, which is annoying to me, so I go Aegislash. I don't mind taking a flamethrower. However, Doogal goes for a Toxic Spikes. Oh, by the way, Jake told me that Doogal is a big Yankee fan, so if you're watching this and you ever want to talk sports, dude, hit me up. I'm a humongous Yankee fan. I breathe Yankees baseball. I cannot wait for it to come back in July in all likelihood. I know we'll hear more in the coming weeks, coming days, really. Love baseball. And if any of my subscribers like baseball, please hit me up to talk baseball anytime. That's my passion. Honestly, I'm a huge stat guy too. Anyway, I figured that I'm probably slower here because I'm minus speed. I kind of wanted to be slower so I could go for this Shadow Ball and be slower without risking anything. So that worked out really well. As he only does 30%, I Shadow Ball, and now I go to this predicting him to protect because I'm predicting him to go for a flamethrower rather, but he happened to protect, which worked out even better for me. I'm not sure why he protected because his flamethrower would have done a ton to me in shield form, and that would have been worthwhile damage, but that's fine with me. Anyway, I go for U-turn here. I don't think I'm Hurricane here, so I kind of want to U-turn here, trying to get a switch. No, actually, I Icy Wind here, thinking that he might go Chomp if he's Rocky Helmet or Zero Aura, and now I Toxic Nemoltres as he U-turns. That's fine, as he goes Zero Aura. This is a really interesting turn here. I was almost sure he wouldn't Plastifist, so I wanted to U-turn, but what ultimately happened was I go Rotom-O to be safe, and he goes for a knockoff. So in hindsight, U-turn would have been good, but taking consistent rock damage would have sucked. Anyway, I get a defog off here, which gets the rocks off and a Toxic Spikes off, which is great. Um, and then I get really lucky here. I critical hit the Volt Twitch, which it would have left it very low. But if it's Protect plus Black Surge, it's not Pain Split, and it can't 2-KO the Aegislash here anyway. And Aegislash itself, I don't think comes to a big deal. So, in a way, it would have just been Toxic Spikes up, which only hits 3 things on my team. And I've got Heal Bell and Defog, so I don't think it made a huge difference in practice, but it definitely took a little sliver of opportunity out of Duke's hands, and I feel real bad for that. So my bad. It's a money tour. Any luck is complete shit. Anyway, we're up here on Garchomp here. It's probably yeah. So I don't get a great roll with Ice Punch unless it's more XP invested than I imagine. But Earthquake, I can't tell the nature given that. But I get out of the way here. I go Tornadus on an Outrage. And given that Outrage, it's Jolly Garchomp and it rolled max damage on my Rhyperior or close to it. So I go right out here back to Sylveon and I wish up as it reveals itself to only get a 2-turn Outrage, so no confusion. And then I wish here, and given that earthquake damage, given outrage damage, it has to be Jolly. But given that earthquake damage, Jolly Earthquake does 45.8 or 46.2, something like that, max to me. That did 45. I'm at 44, so he probably thinks my spread isn't great. So his high roll, unless he gets another near max roll, kind of comes to fuck with him because he's like, oh, I'm gonna protect for sure to make sure I live. But in reality, I'm like, okay, I live this like 12 or 13 out of 16 times at the absolute worst. There's a chance that's 15 out of 16 or 16 out of 16, depending on spreads and depending on a lot of other things. So I'm like, okay, this is perfect. So I'm gonna Moonblast here. If this guy is blessed enough to get 2 max rolls, then that's fine. I still have outs. So I Moonblast and they Swords Dance, and that worked wonders because I predicted that. I knew that if it's Rock's Tar, then it had to be Swords Dance, and it was probably Swords Dance 3 attacks with either Stone Edge or Aqua Tail. I don't think it was Aqua Tail though. Could have in theory been Fire Fang for Balloon Aegislash and run a Mo, I guess. Could have also been Toxic for Slowbro, but whatever it was, that worked out. And now my Sylveon's near full, and I feel like I'm playing a really good game. I know it's not Choice Banded, so I live a Heavy Slam here. I go over Moonblast as 48, 46, so that means it's a very offensive Tyranitar as well. Maybe even minus special defense, or just not, just really fast or outrunning neutral nature, Aegislash Sylveon that are offensive. Anyway, I wish on a Heavy Slam, and I know at this point I don't need the health on Sylveon. It's just fodder at this point because nothing's toxic and Toxic Spikes aren't up. So that's the one advantage of me getting the crit and wheezing was I didn't have to reserve that sequence, so I could just go to Rhyperior here instead of probably having to pivot around. I didn't really need Rotom Heat's health anyway, Rotom Mo's health anyway, so I could have went to that. Um, and then preserve this plus this for Zero Aura. Besides the point. Also, Slowbro 1v1 Zero Aura with Iron Defense. Just a little heads up there. But anyway, I go Rhyperior here knowing I always live a Crunch for Max Adamant and Heavy Slam. Actually, Crunch had like a 116 roll of killing for Max Adamant. But yeah, and Heavy Slam does even less, so it's only 40 BP. And now I go for Earthquake knowing I took out to Sizzler, and he bullet punches, and I know I live that always, Byron Crit from Life Orb, and always puts me in Cuss Step range, so that's great. He does that, and now I'm in Cuss Step range, and this is where it sucks for him, but look at my position. It's 6'3". This is healthy enough to live any hit from Zero Aura. Again, if I wasn't Cuss Step right, I probably wouldn't have done that sequence to begin with, so I would probably have a healthy Sylveon, and the Sizzler I could keep in check with my Tornadus T. I probably would have had to fodder up right period, but it still would have been 5'3", and this still would have been around a similar health, and this would be dead. And this would be healthy. So, like, worst case scenario, it's just a bit of a flip-flop. Since this is toxic, it can't beat Heal Bell Sylveon. Since this is low, well, actually, there's a chance this might be at full too, but it can't beat Iron Defense Slowbro. This can't beat Iron Defense Slowbro. This would need Hurricane hits to beat Iron Defense Slowbro, and I could go Sylveon, and I could Heal Bell off any Toxics. Actually, I don't have Heal Bell. Do I? No, I'm Baton Pass, so I don't. So we could have Toxic the bro, yeah, but Skull 2 kills it, and Tornado C can come in on it, and it's kind of expendable when Scissor dies entirely. So I just don't see a way I lose. Even if he's Choppleberry, then I could just Revenge Kill it with U-Turn or Revenge Kill it with Leaf Storm. In Zero Aura, there's no way it kills this without a crit. No way it kills this without a crit, and I can Mega Evolve and get an Iron Defense off to do over half. So he would need crits and then some to win, because that's not even factoring through breaking through Sylveon, which, quite frankly, I just don't think he can do. So, yeah, as you see here, I'm going to get this free kill here, and it just puts him in a body bag that's unfortunate for him. And yeah, in hindsight, this shouldn't have been allowed, but like it wasn't clear in the rules, and I don't see a world in where I lose from that position anyway. Just given how it was played, he would have needed a lot of luck. And I hope that I proved beyond reasonable doubt that I was winning this game anyway. It was a 6-2 position, and also no one knew that Custap wasn't legal at this point. Someone brought it up literally 3 rounds later. So I am sorry, but I don't think I did anything wrong. And I don't think the mod did anything wrong. I just think it was kind of one of those like awkward things. There are hundreds of items, hundreds of Pokemon, hundreds of things with legality, and there's just no way to create a master list that encompasses everything. And it's just awkward. It's a bit of a fringe gray area, and I do feel bad, but I mean, this game was won anyway. Look at it. So, yeah, Apparently, it was metronome on the Garchomp, by the way, so another Earthquake could have killed. But if he didn't get near max in the first one, then I could have probably lived two, depending on rolls anyway. So I don't know why I didn't know he was metronome. I guess that kind of he thought I'd protect anyway. Anyway, body press kills him 54 for Mega, which is kind of funny. Seeing a body press Slowbro get a kill there like that. And he goes for Hurricane, and he gets a high roll unless he's got special attack investment. Either way, that's fine with me because it's last Pokemon Moltres, so I could just go for an Icy Wind here and make sure he's slower. And I'll just spam Icy Wind until this dies. And then I could revenge kill with this, or just stall with this, and I win. So I'm able to emerge victorious 3-0 over Doogal. I probably could preserve 3-4 if I really wanted to, but it doesn't matter differential at this point. Again, sorry about the whole cuff step debacle, but it did not come into play here. And overall, I feel like I played this really well. I felt I was a step ahead of the game the whole time. So this was a good game. I hope you guys enjoyed. And now I am clinched in the final 8 with a 2-0 start. If I win one more game, then I also clinch myself in the top 4. And my next game is against someone that you guys definitely will recognize. Someone very good at Pokemon and draft in particular. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Have a nice night. This has been Finch. Please leave a like and subscribe if you enjoy these. It would mean the world to me. Thank you so much. All right, guys. Peace.